The next time you pull up to a gas station and you're staring at that price on the sign, just think about this for a second. That number, it's not just a guess. It's actually the end result of this hidden, super high-stakes battle being fought literally every single second of the day by artificial intelligence. It's wild. Okay, let's get into it. I mean, we've all felt it, right? One day the price is up, the next day it's down. It just feels so random, totally unpredictable, like this constant roller coaster. But what if I told you there's a new logic behind all that chaos? One that's working not just to make that price make sense, but also to make sure the fuel is even there when you pull up. See, for a fuel retailer, every single day is a battle, and it's against this incredible complexity. You're talking about razor-thin profit margins on every single gallon they sell. Wholesale prices, they swing wildly, all over the place. And demand can change in an instant because of, a sudden storm or traffic jam. And get this, if a delivery truck makes just one mistake, the cost is massive. It's just a relentless, high-pressure world. So let's do it. Let's pull back the curtain on this unseen fuel war, because it really is a fight. And it's not just for profit, it's for survival, really. And believe me, it is way more complex than you probably guess. And this whole thing isn't just about simple supply and demand. You have to think about the real, physical world. For starters, you've got a limited number of trucks and drivers. Then the supply terminals. They get clogged up, just like a highway at rush hour. And every single station has different tank sizes. Plus, they can only take deliveries during these really tight windows. Now, throw in completely unpredictable traffic and weather, and yeah, you've got yourself a logistical nightmare. Okay, so how on earth did businesses manage all this chaos before? Well, for the most part, they ran on intuition. Seriously. It was a world of messy spreadsheets, information trapped in different departments, and decisions that basically came down to a station manager's best guess on any given day. And this right here, this shows the fundamental shift. It's a total game changer. We're moving away from a world of just manual guesses to one of continuous, automated optimization. Instead of having all these separate, siloed systems that don't talk to each other, you get complete, end-to-end visibility. And we're ditching the old spreadsheet logic for an AI that actually understands all those real-world constraints we just talked about. But here's the most important part. The whole game shifts from being reactive, fixing problems after they happen, to being proactive, to preventing those problems from ever happening in the first place. And this is where our hero finally enters the story. It's a brand new approach built on these specialized AI agents that are designed specifically to solve this massive, messy puzzle. So what are they? They're called autonomous optimization models, or AOMs for short. And you can just think of them as a team of digital experts. Actually, here's a better way to picture it. Imagine a digital air traffic control system, but for every single drop of fuel. It's tracking that fuel all the way from the terminal, onto the truck, into the station's tank, and finally into your car. And it's optimizing every single step of that journey. So how do these things actually work? Well, first, they give you predictive insight. They're forecasting everything from customer demand to wholesale prices. Then, and this is key, the recommendations are constraint aware. That's just a fancy way of saying they get the real-world limits. They know how big the trucks are, how big the tanks are. And third, this system is always on. It's constantly learning from new data, and it just keeps getting smarter and smarter over time. Okay, so that all sounds pretty great in theory, right? But what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's check out two specific AI agents and see what they can do. All right, first up, meet the Smart Replenishment Orchestrator, or SRO. This is the AI agent that's all about logistics. Its entire job, its whole reason for being, is to solve that puzzle of getting the perfect amount of fuel to the right station at exactly the right time. The goal is to avoid those dreaded stockouts, but also not to overfill the tanks. It's a tough balancing act. And the impact? It's pretty staggering. Think about the huge challenge of a stockout. That's when a station literally runs out of gas. This one agent can cut those events by 40 to 60%. And on top of that, by figuring out the absolute smartest routes for the trucks, it cuts delivery costs by 10 to 20%. That's huge. Let's just let that sink in. A 50% average reduction in stockouts, that is a massive win. For the business, obviously it means no lost sales, but for you and me, it means reliability. It means you never have that awful feeling of showing up to a pump and seeing that plastic bag over the handle. Okay, now for our second agent. This is the one that tackles that price roller coaster we started with.
the real-time pricing optimizer. And this AI, it's a true master strategist. It learns exactly how sensitive customers are to price changes, like down to a specific neighborhood. And it even predicts what the competing gas stations across the street are going to do next. It's kind of like a chess master for gas prices.
So its whole job is to find that perfect balance. Instead of the station reacting slowly and losing money, this AI provides a 3 to 6% uplift in margin. And by avoiding those classic pricing mistakes, being way too high or way too low compared to the guy across the street, it slashes those wrong price events by 20 to 30%. And this really gets to the bottom line, doesn't it? An average net profit uplift of about 5%. Now, it's super important to understand this isn't about price gouging. It's about precision. It's about creating a much healthier, more stable business that can actually handle how volatile this market is. So look, this technology is already transforming the gas station of today. But its real test, and honestly, its biggest opportunity, that all lies in what's just around the corner. And that next huge challenge is, of course, the rise of electric vehicles. Think about it. The entire business model shifts from a quick 5-minute fill-up to a 30-minute charge. That completely changes the DNA, the very essence of what a roadside station is. And all of a sudden, you have a whole new set of puzzles to solve, right? How do you stop a traffic jam from forming around the chargers at 5 p.m.? How do you turn that customer's 30-minute dwell time into a real opportunity? Sell them a coffee, a sandwich? How do you press electricity when the grid cost is changing all the time? And how do you line up your staff schedules with these totally new waves of customers? It's a whole new ballgame. And this, right here, is where another one of these autonomous optimization models comes into play, and it turns this massive challenge into a huge win. An AI system that's focused on EVs can optimize the entire experience, everything from charger availability to what's on sale inside the store. The result? They can boost those non-fuel sales by 10 to 20%, basically creating a whole new, super profitable revenue stream. Which really brings us to this crucial line from the playbook this is all based on. This is not the end. It is the foundation. And that's so true. Optimizing the fuel and the EV charging, that's just the first layer. You can apply the exact same logic to staffing, to store inventory, to security, to pretty much everything. So, all this leaves us with one final big question. We've just seen how AI is quietly working behind the scenes, totally revolutionizing the complex system that gets fuel into our cars. So as our world keeps changing so fast, you have to wonder, what other invisible systems that we all rely on every single day? I'm talking about grocery store supply chains, city traffic grids, you name it. What other systems are out there just waiting for their own AI upgrade?